So, have you ever dreamed about starting your own business, but you kind of don't want to start from scratch? Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to go from zero to a minimum of $20,000 per a month by buying your own business. So, you have this entrepreneurial spirit, but you don't really want to start from scratch because it's so hard to build a business. Look no further because this is the video for you. There are simply three main things that you have to remember when it comes to buying a business. So the number one thing that I always tell people is, what kind of business do you want to start? And what kind of owner do you want to be? When I say what kind of owner do you want to be, do you want to kind of be in the back scene and not really stop what you're doing right now while that business is operating? That's the number one thing you have to establish with yourself. You have to figure out, do I want to be hands-on? Do I want to be operational? Because those things are going to make or break you. And how you're going to figure that out is by doing research. So for instance, me, I will never think of buying a restaurant because I don't want to own a restaurant. I've never dreamed about owning a restaurant. I actually closed my coffee shop because it started to turn more into like a restaurant where people wanted me to serve them food, and I kept marketing like other businesses like, hey, there's like so many other restaurants you can go to. I'm just a coffee ceremony shop, you know? And that right there is exactly why I have no desire of owning a restaurant. So I don't look at that, right? You have to do a lot of research. You have to figure out what type of owner you want to be and what type of niche or industry you'd like to enter. For instance, you could do a pool routing service. A pool routing service is if you live in warmer areas like Florida, California, Nevada, Arizona, where there's a heavy population of houses with pools. You might want to look into a pool routing service that you can buy. You can get those for $15,000, $20,000, but that will involve you having to clean the pools or finding someone to clean a pool. So you have to have that understanding of that business. It really depends, again, what kind of business you're looking to buy, because it needs to be something that you understand. If you don't understand it, it would be really hard for you to operate it and really hard for you to have a passion to keep doing it. When you put skin in the game, you want to make sure you have all of your I's dots and your T's crossed. In addition to knowing what you want to invest in, you have to understand how much time you want to put in it. Do you want to quit your day job? There are some businesses that you don't have to quit your day job. Like if you're buying a laundromat, it runs itself. You have employees, you probably have to go in like once a week to cash out. So what type of time do you want to spend in there? Do you want to be hands-on? Do you want to work in the business by resigning from your current job, or just really putting all your skin in the game? Or do you kind of want it to run on its own? So you have to figure out the type of business you want and the time that you want to invest in the business. Once you have all of this down packed, now we can talk about the relationship with brokers. And that's my second rule for you. Build your relationship with brokers. For instance, if you want to buy a mechanic shop, there are mechanic shop brokers, right? If you want to buy a liquor store, there are liquor store brokers. If you want to buy a restaurant, if you want to buy a construction company, whatever type of business you want to buy that's probably hot in demand, most likely there is a specific broker for that business. And I highly recommend building relationships with these brokers. Now you're wondering how you can find those brokers. That's why you're watching this video. Also, if you're new to my channel, subscribe, like, and comment. I teach about financial literacy, how to become at whole with yourself. I teach about women empowerment, law of attraction, money management rules, relationships, self-development, personal development, you name it. I actually just teach you how to live your best life internally and externally. And if that's something that you want to learn more about, follow, subscribe, and just leave me a comment. Let me know if you want to see any more content related to business or entrepreneurship or whatever it is you like. Building the relationships with the brokers. And how do you build relationship with business brokers? It's the same way how you would with real estate brokers. You find them on Zillow, Redfin. With these business brokers, you find them on BizBuySell, BizQuest.com. And there are many more other sites that you could just Google and they are there for you to buy or to look into any type of business that you're looking for. So if you go to BizBuySell or BizQuest.com and you just type in coffee shop for sale or construction company for sale, you'll see all of the listings in the United States. I highly recommend doing a nationwide search just so you can get an idea of what's out in the market, and then you can pinpoint to the location you want, because some businesses you may not necessarily have to live in that state or that specific area. If you're buying a vending machine, you don't have to really live near the vending machine area. You just have to be able to get there quick enough to manage or to cash out or to refill, unless you have people doing that for you. So it just really depends, right? So building the relationship with the brokers is key, because I'm at a point now where like I have brokers that I'm like, I get their emails right away. Like as soon as a listing is up, regardless of the industry, they'll send it to me. Me specifically, I am looking for a couple of different industries, and I have a couple of different strategies. So if I'm looking to buy we'll just use coffee shop again, right, as an example. If I'm looking to buy a coffee shop, I know the amount of time I want to spend into that business. If I'm looking to buy a pool routing service, I know the amount of time I'm looking to spend in that business. I will not necessarily be buying any of these industries that I just named out, but specific to me, I know like, okay, if I get this kind of business, I want to spend like an X amount of hours. And if I do this, I have to spend that amount of hours. And that's really important for me to understand. So when you build these relationships with the brokers, it's good to test out the market and get all the leads. Have them come into your emails. There might be some that you want to look into, and being able to just have that understanding of who you are, your financials in order for the broker to trust you and give you these leads before it's even posted online is the number one step that you can get closer to buying your next business. So number 3, you know what you want to do, you know how much time you want to spend, you're building relationships with brokers because you're online, you're on BizQuest, you're on BizBuySell, you're on Google, you're trying to find businesses to buy. Where's the money? Where are you going to get the money from? Some of these businesses are so expensive. The number 3 rule is getting your financials in order. Now, if a business costs $1 million, you do not need $1 million to buy that business. Let me make it very clear to you. You don't need that. Depending on the route that you take, there are several different routes that you can take to buy a business. So let's talk about the top common ones. Cash. Now, do we have $1 million in cash? No, we do not. We did, things would be easier. So that's out the game. An SBA loan. Yes, this is called a business acquisition. Most people don't tell you is they'll tell you to start a business, but all of your multimillionaires and even billionaires like Warren Buffett, they did not become billionaires or successful serial entrepreneurs by simply starting businesses. They were buying businesses and doing what's called growth by acquisition. Growth by acquisition is by far the bread and butter of your road to success. It's kind of like a franchise, but it's not, because this is yours. You've taken ownership of that company. You are the new owner. And we see this happen all the time. Kylie Jenner sold Kylie Cosmetics to ColourPop, I believe. We see celebrities buying and selling businesses. We see major companies buying other companies out. This is the game, people. The game is growth by acquisition. It is not starting your business from scratch. It's that. But it's not only that. And that's the secret that they don't teach you. And once I found this out, my entire life changed. You can still have your day job and still own a business that just runs on its own. And how you can buy the business is either cash, and you can do it, or an SBA loan, right? So those are 2 avenues. An SBA loan will require your entire life. We all know how the SBA works. So they only want you to have 10% down. So $1 million business, $100,000 down. You're buying a $100,000 business, $10,000 down. You see how it goes? You only need 10% to buy the business. The rate right now with the SBA, I believe, is like at 8.75%. 8.75% is really not bad. When you're looking at the metrics and the data, if the numbers make sense, it is not bad in some situations. But the only reason why SBA gets a little tricky is because they require collateral as well. So you might need to have like a house to put down, right? Or you might need to have like a large, like more than 10% to show that you have more skin in the game. So things can get a little bit tricky when it comes with subsidized loans with the government, as we all know. Number three and number four are my favorite ways. Number three is what's called seller financing. Not a lot of people know about this because people think that if you're grossing $1 million, why would you want to sell that business? If you're making 20K profit off of it, why would you want to sell it? Well, everybody doesn't want to keep running their business forever, Sally. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, and that's really what it is. Like, we are in a game where boomers are leaving the business. Boomers are retiring. They love their businesses. This is their baby. They don't want to give it up. So they have what's called seller financing in a lot of industries, especially mechanic shops. So if you're interested in buying a mechanic shop, I can make a separate video about that because they love seller financing because they know that the money is there. Seller financing is, you kind of propose it to them, right? Sometimes you don't even need any money down with seller financing, where if you propose a deal to the owner, they will give you that business and allow you to pay them a fee with interest from the profits that come in because they know their business is already doing well. That's when you come in. So now the business is already profiting to where instead of paying the SBA that loan plus the 8.75%, you can work out the same deal with the owner. And depending on the business, the industry, and what the owner is looking for in their urgency, you can make a deal. You can make a deal that way. And I've seen it happen. So seller financing, all it means is that the seller is financing you as opposed to the bank or anyone else, which is the best route. When you're looking to buy a business, let's say you own a business already, and let's say you own a consulting firm or like a law firm, and you want to grow that law firm. You can buy a law firm that's probably up for sale right now and merge it with your company by either keeping their name or changing it to your business's name, and now you've grown your startup by acquisition. Best way that you can do that is by really understanding the market, building relationships with these brokers, and understanding how you will financially obtain and buy this business. And seller financing for me is one of the best routes. And if you know how to negotiate a good deal, you know how to propose a deal beautifully organized to where it makes sense for you and the seller, I would say about 75 to 80% of a chance that you will get that yes. The fourth way that you can buy a business without taking out a loan or going through seller financing is also one of my favorites. It kind of gives me Shark Tank vibes. You find a private equity lender. You find a private lender as in an investor. These are a little bit more trickier because a lot of the private equity companies that I had reached out to, they have like these $50 million minimums where they're a little bit too enormous. And depending on the size of the business that you're trying to buy, you might be too small and you might need to get a micro loan like the SBA loan or go down the seller financing route. If you can, finding an investor. And there are so many different ways, like Angel Investment Network is great. There's angelslist.com. There's different ways that you can find angel investors and private equity lenders in America. It doesn't have to be near you. They can be anywhere nationwide. You can even find international investors that come to America and invest. There are a lot in Singapore. There are a lot in Thailand. There are a lot in China. And if you know how to negotiate a deal, there are so many wealthy people looking for ambitious, hungry entrepreneurs to partner with to help grow. And a lot of people say like, oh, you have investors. It's not really your own business. Kim Kardashian owns 35% of Skims. When I found that out, my entire perspective on business altered. She's the face of the company. We think she owns all of it, but Emma Grede and her husband own more equity in Skims than Kim Kardashian herself, right? So you don't have to be 100% owner in the beginning, right? So it's okay for you to have investors because you can always buy them out. That's why you have to be able to negotiate deals very smartly. I've been watching Shark Tank since I was like, I think 19 or 20. I don't even know. Since the day Shark Tank came out, I have been a consistent watcher. And I have came to the conclusion that I'll probably end up being a shark at this point in my life than going on Shark Tank, but you never know how it works out. So the money is the number one aspect. So what we learned is if you're looking to buy a business or even thinking about buying a business, Make sure you know what kind of business you want to buy, how much time you want to spend running, managing, operating the business. Number two, building a relationship with brokers. Where do you find these brokers? On Google, on bizbuysell.com, on bizquest.com. There are also autobizbrokers.com for mechanic shops, right? And so laundromats, vending machines, there's just so many. Brokers they'll text you when they have listings. They'll text you like, hey, are you still looking to buy an XYZ? I have this for sale. And that's what you want. Whether you're buying it or not, have that there so you know what type of opportunities are there. So when you are preparing yourself to buy these businesses, you know that that broker knows you, you know him or her, and the deal will go as smoothly as possible. So if you end up buying a business after watching this video, come back, let me know how it went. Please be advised that you will have to go through NDAs, you will have to go through financial screening sometimes depending on the business before you can even see their data and their revenue and sales and all that. I can make a part 2 about the nitty gritty of this business, like as far as once you sign that NDA, what you should be looking for, the data you're projecting to bring in, and just all that good stuff. If this is something that you enjoyed watching, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will talk to you